It's Wednesday Addams. I see you're trying to distract yourself from your own banal thoughts. Let me help. Here's a recording thing made of my latest root canal.
Wednesday Season 2 is now playing, only on Netflix.
Deborah had to have surgery.
I had hip surgery in November of 2024.
Her United Healthcare nurse, Crystal, checked on her.
We do a routine call after surgery, and I could tell that she was struggling.
Deborah needed help.
My infection markers were through the roof.
And Crystal knew what to do.
I called the hospital and said she's coming in.
And got Deborah the help she needed.
Crystal and United Healthcare saved my life.
Hear more stories like Deborah's at uhc.com. Benefits, features, and/or devices vary by plan area. Limitation and exclusions apply.
What would you do if thousands of dollars vanished from your savings account and the bank insists, no, you came in and you withdrew it?
Today we unravel how a fake driver's license, dozens of fraudulent credit cards, and a nightmare cleanup leave you questioning just how safe your personal information is.
Stick around. What Ken went through could happen to any of us, and you'll want to hear how he fought back.
And with that, welcome to What the Hack, a true cybercrime podcast. I'm Adam Levin.
I'm Beau Friedlander.
And I'm Travis Taylor.
Ken, thanks for joining us on the show. So, where are you calling in from today?
I'm calling from Brooklyn, New York.
And what do you do for a living?
I do IT work.
So what do you do in IT, Ken?
I do networking, AV stuff, basic troubleshooting, maintenance. That's pretty much it. Nothing with hacking and security.
And do you do it for a single company or for an agency?
I'm in-house for one consulting company.
If you're doing IT work, you know your way around tech.
I do.
So I know what brings you here today. You experienced some identity theft. Can you start by telling us how you first discovered something was wrong? What was the first sign?
So first, the red flag that I got was when I found out somebody changed my phone number in one of my savings accounts.
So how did you find out?
I found out right after the internal fraud team told me that somebody was using my ID, driver's license, and social security number to change the phone number and try to get an account, which they did. Apparently, this guy actually went into a local branch and withdrew money from my accounts.
So wait a second. Now, whoever stole your identity, let's just get this clear. I want to make sure I understand. So you got an alert from your credit card company or bank?
It's a savings account.
A savings account. That somebody was trying to change the phone number on your account.
They did change the phone number.
And they were just letting you know, hey, your phone number changed on your account.
Yeah. So I got a notification saying that.
Okay. So then whoever did that, you're saying also went into a local branch of the same bank?
Yeah. So once I reported it, they locked down my accounts. Supposedly it's restricted so nobody can actually withdraw money from like ATM.
So you're basically saying you froze your account, and at this moment, nobody can take money out.
Yeah, that's what they said. But then this guy actually went to the local branch, and then they're like, oh, okay, we verified this person as, me. And then they're like, you could withdraw because he's telling them that, hey, I need to pay rent. I need the money. So you have to give me my money. And that's exactly what happened with this bank. This bank actually gave them, and he withdrew like $8,000 after that.
Do you know what he used to convince them he was you?
Yeah, he has my driver's license and my social security number.
Did you lose your wallet or something?
No, I didn't lose it. Apparently, I found out this a couple of days later that this guy reissued a driver's license and then sent it to his house. So basically, he has of my current driver's license, use that information to create a DMV account, which I never created in the past before. I never had a need to, which now I found that's something I should definitely create and link it to my driver's license. But this guy did it, and I guess I was an easier target. And he reissued it, and in the DMV site, you can actually mail it to a different address instead of the resident address.
Yeah, it's surprisingly easy for someone to commit identity theft with just your driver's license. They only need to send the ID number from the front and the document number from the back of the card. And with those, along with the last 4 digits of your social security number, which at this point we can kind of assume is already out there, they can create a new DMV account, reissue your license, and then have it mailed to a different address. And that means they can get access to your identity.
All right. So this brings up an interesting point. I once actually, on my way to see you, Adam, I didn't have my driver's license on me. And I told TSA, I don't have my driver's license. I can't go, right? And he was like, no, you can go. And I was like, oh, great. How? And they just asked me a few questions and looked at a few credit cards and they let me on. And I feel like DMV is similar to that, in that it's a very low threshold. Because when I was in the DMV site to get a new license issued to me, because I was sure I lost mine, and I had it done in 2 seconds and with very little authentication, very little. So, okay, we're hearing a pretty big vulnerability out there.
Did you look at the DMV site? What'd you do? How'd you lock that down?
So I recovered it just recently. I had to go on the call with DMV agency to get a hold of anybody. But with the situation that I'm in, it just takes a long time to get a hold of anybody that can actually help me in my situation. I was actually on call for 3 to 4 hours with the DMV just to recover my account.
The time cost is insane. You have to be frustrated. So let me go back to your identity thief for a moment. This fellow walks into the bank. He has your driver's license information. He makes them comfortable with the fact that he's you. And then what did he do once he was in the bank?
So once he's in the bank, they told me that he just told them that I need to withdraw money, and he put in the amount $8,000. Once they confirmed the ID, they pretty much gave them the money.
Now, your driver's license has your picture on it, right?
I found out through another bank that he opened. The branch manager actually told me that this guy looks very similar to you. So if somebody looks similar to you with a driver's license and your social, then they could do some real damage.
So you're saying that the person who stole your identity looked enough like you that when he used your driver's license, he was believed.
Do you have any idea how you got on his radar?
I noticed that it's all started when some of my mail has gone missing. So I think this person was actually around before and was stealing mail from where I live. I didn't think that much of it because, mail has gone missing. Okay, now we gotta be more cautious and put up a new camera or something to make sure that nobody will steal again. But other than that, I didn't think anything of it.
When did this all happen?
This is the beginning of the month. I think I put it down as around July 5th.
Oh, it was right during the holiday, the 4th of July holiday. What did you do next?
I didn't know anything about, the 3 credit bureaus, all of this is just kind of new to me. But when I start doing research, like, okay, so I got to put up a straw alert. I got to freeze my credits. I got to take a look at the inquiries credit reports just to make sure that the guy hasn't done any other damage. So basically this guy during that time also opened a Verizon wireless account. And within that Verizon wireless account, I actually got the bill to my house saying that you opened a new account to Verizon and you bought 2 iPhone 15 Pro Max. And that's all being charged to me. And as well as Verizon Wireless, he opened the AT&T accounts, AT&T Wireless, and then a check account with one of the big banks. I found out later on, this guy tried to open like 20 credit cards under my name within that bank.
Was there any indication as to when this all started?
Yeah, so I think it all started, and this is a couple of days ago that I actually learned this because I was talking to the DMV and they told me that DMV driver's license was reissued around June 15th or 14th, like around June 30th. That's when he got the license and then he started opening a new account like the Verizon Wireless, AT&T, bank, and then going, packing my, savings account and stuff like that.
So when you started to piece it all together, how did you feel?
I feel a little bit more relaxed, not as stressed out because everything before was pretty much like in the dark. I don't know what the guy's going to do next. I don't know what's actually open. And now I'm starting to piece everything together and secure my accounts. Now I have all my accounts secure, at least if this guy doesn't know that much information, so he can really open up new bank accounts and credit cards after that as well.
But did anything happen after this that was a surprise? Were there any other things that you became aware of?
Well, I noticed that, and this is just learning on the go, that you have to look at your credit reports. There are soft inquiries that a lot of businesses can use to open an account. An example would be Verizon Wireless. They don't pull hard inquiries on your credit reports. They actually do soft inquiries and you can open an account from there. Also, the soft inquiries and make sure that any accounts that I don't know about, at least call the business and see if I actually have an account. That's how I found out about AT&T. That's how I find out about another business. I've been reaching out to different businesses, trying to close the account.
Hey guys, have you heard of Goldbelly? It's this amazing site where they ship the most iconic, famous foods from restaurants across the country, anywhere, nationwide. I've never found a more perfect gift than food. Goldbelly ships Chicago deep dish pizza, New York bagels, Maine lobster rolls, and even Ina Garden's famous cakes. So, if you're looking for a gift for the food lover in your life, head to goldbelly.com and get 20% off your first order with promo code GIFT. That's goldbelly.com, promo code GIFT.
So it sounds like this guy used mail theft and then got a phony driver's license and then committed bank fraud. Do you know where he had the driver's license sent?
So what's crazy is when I recover my DMV account, his old address was actually still in the mailing address. And his old address is actually like only about 1 or 2 miles away from where I actually live.
Was it a post box or was it an actual physical address?
I looked it up. There's actually an apartment complex. It's like a couple of floors. It's a physical address.
You live in Brooklyn, and the guy who defrauded you looked like you. So I'm guessing you're quite sure that the person who committed this crime is also Asian.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure of it because I confirmed it with one of the branch managers that opened an account with them.
All right, so Brooklyn is very much a place of neighborhoods, and they break down along ethnicities. And Brooklyn does have a Chinatown. Now, You don't have any banking relationships there, for instance.
Well, actually, no, I do have a bank near there. It's a small bank. With me and my mom, we have a mortgage together, and we use one of the small banks now. So,
this is a bank that serves the Asian population in Brooklyn?
Yeah, that's correct.
Is it possible that he got the information from maybe someone that worked at that bank?
Well, that's what I'm wondering. I mean, did you call that bank where you hold the mortgage with your mother and ask if there had been any issues there?
I did, and they said there's no issues. So,
Ken, have you ever checked your info on the website, Have I Been Pawned? Now, it's a free service that lets you see if your email or phone number or personal data has been compromised in a data breach. Right now, during this interview, all you need to do is go there right now, enter your email, your phone number, and it'll show you if your information has been exposed in any known security incident.
And you're not going to get hacked.
You won't get hacked.
No.
I do see a couple of websites that's listed here.
Okay, don't tell us what they are, but what was in the breached content there? Was it phone number, name?
Most of these sites is email addresses, phone numbers. Very few has passwords.
But there are a few that include passwords?
I think one or two of them do have like a password that's been out.
Well, now, we can't be sure if this is how your identity thief got any of your info, but it just goes to show how easily our private data could end up in the hands of criminals.
Yeah, and that is especially the case if there's been a data breach from any of the companies you've done business with.
Ken, everything you've gone through highlights a significant challenge. When new bank accounts are open in your name, there is no central system like we have for monitoring credit reports. And so it's not practical for people like you and me to check every bank to see if an account's been open in our name.
But when it comes to protecting your credentials, like your driver's license, social security number, and even your mail, there are steps you can take. We called up Eva Velasquez, the president and CEO of the Identity Theft Resource Center, to tell her your story and get her feedback.
You know, it's really challenging when you're talking about the opening of new bank accounts because we don't have a central repository like we do for credit. And that's something that industry needs to address. Now, when it comes to things like your credentials, it really is about keeping an eye on them. If you are expecting that, if you're renewing your driver's license and you are expecting that in the mail, really the only thing that you can do is keep an eye out for it and report it if it doesn't come in and get that other copy. Keeping an eye out for all of your mail. If someone has done a change of address, there are programs with the post office where you can get that e-delivery and see what's supposed to be coming into you and get notified if there's a change of address being done on your account. So there's different things that you can do in different sets of circumstances. And, you know, the other thing I tell people is just be really cautious about your identity documents and identity information within your own household. Some people don't have the safety of being able to leave those things laying around. They have roommates, they have extended family. They may have a lot of traffic in and out of their house, whether it's work and construction being done, lots of roommates, kids, older kids that just have lots of people in and out, caregivers coming in and out. So depending on your living circumstances and situation, there are different ways that you need to manage that information about yourself.
Ken, your story, I mean, this is a shining example of somebody who takes the right steps. But even with that, even if you take the right steps, even if you make the right moves, that doesn't mean you're immune to crime. Identity theft can happen to you, it can happen to me, it can happen to anybody despite our best efforts. And that's why it's so important to think about the 3 M's. How we can minimize the risk, monitor for signs of trouble, and manage the damage if something goes wrong. So really, the first M is everything from password protocols using long and strong passwords not shared across your universe of websites and accounts. Multi-factor authentication. Did you use multi-factor authentication in your accounts?
Yes, I do.
Previous to getting your identity stolen?
Yeah. So just note that some banks, unfortunately, the one I have my savings account on isn't that secure. So
yeah, well, you know, it's Murphy's Law. It's always the one that isn't so secure.
The driver's license is the real linchpin here because he looks like you, and it goes back to, you know, maybe it was somebody who knew you or at least knew you existed. When we first talked, Ken, I thought it was maybe your letter carrier because it just seems like, I don't want to get sued by the U.S. Postal Service, but it had to be somebody who had some sense that they could get the scam going. The real gist of the scam sounds like getting your driver's license. So they had to have some kind of information. It's mail fraud that turned into bank fraud. But how did you get targeted? That's the part. All right, guys, let's do a speed round. Like Adam, I don't think he got, I don't think it's a password related thing. I don't.
I think this is probably like a mid-level to small independent fraud ring. So it's either an individual or a group of people that looked for someone that's still in their vicinity. Even though the branch is further out from where the victim lived, it's still in driving distance. It's still in the U.S. So I think they could have found this person and found someone that looks enough like the identity thief. They felt like that would pass the human test in a bank branch.
Eva, at ITRC, have you seen a lot of cases like this?
We have seen enough cases where people are having money taken out of their existing accounts in the branches. So it's not this online creating new accounts, digital only transaction. There's this crossover, this meshing of analog and digital nefarious activity. But it does seem like this in-person proofing at the bank is where one of the weak links is.
So let me ask you a question. They subsequently, after taking the money out from this bank, and of course the victim noted that the money had been taken out and said, "Whoa, excuse me," and they corrected the error there.
Mm-hmm.
But then the same thieves proceeded to open bank accounts using his driver's license and information. What's that about? What's the goal there?
There could be several goals if they're opening new accounts. They could want to use them as mule accounts so that if they're putting money in from other ill-gotten gains, either from maybe fraudulent benefits or just other funds, then it can't be traced back to them. They could be intending to open that new account and then transfer this victim's other accounts, the money in his accounts, into this account and then take it out. So there's a number of things that could be lucrative and beneficial for them there.
So this is like money laundering.
It could be money laundering, or it could be a vehicle to transfer the individual's legitimate funds into a bank account that looks like it's still in control of this individual. It's just a new account. So it could be accounts with that bank, but it could be other accounts that they may know this person has, a 401 account and a money market account. But they would still appear to be not going into someone else's account. It's this legitimate account holder's another account for this person. So it may trip less red flags.
Well, and also we know that there are people who will identify a bank that their money should be transferred into from certain investment accounts. So therefore, if it were presented that way, it would seem to make a lot of sense.
Well, again, the bigger the differences, the more due diligence the banks are going to make. So if it's just at the same bank, the same institution, but you've opened a new account, that may trigger less due diligence. I'm not saying no due diligence, but less.
So one thing that we do know from the opening of subsequent bank accounts is that this probably wasn't just a relative, or if it was a relative who worked in a crime syndicate, a small one or a big one or a medium-sized one. Does that sound about right? I say relative because we know that a lot of identity thieves do know the victim. Mm-hmm. That is a possibility, but the opening of the bank account, that does suggest that there was a larger criminal operation going on.
The level of sophistication is not absolutely novice. It's more at that mid-level, mm-hmm. But the bar to entry, finding out how to do these things, is practically non-existent. So a very motivated individual who maybe doesn't know how to do these things, with a little bit of time and effort and research, could easily find out, could even purchase. I mean, these things are available for purchase, how-to guides, not even just on the dark web, but increasingly on the public web, on YouTube. So the criminal element has definitely moved out of the shadows, and a lot of that information is easily obtainable by someone who's motivated. So it could be a single individual that is known to the victim and has access to the victim's information. I wouldn't rule out that possibility.
It's scary if you think about how easy that can be. I mean, New York is a crowded city. Ultimately, there are enough people there that if you're just going to lurk outside of a bank for a while to pick your target and you get a payday, that's $8,000 plus however much you're able to sell some new iPhones for. And that's a pretty good return on your investment.
Yeah, I know, but that's more like a French noir film. I get you. I hear you. I think that could be what happened. But I guess the bigger point is, could have been a lot of things. We have no idea what happened. So, Ken, I'm really interested to hear what you are doing or did to make sure everything is okay. And that is why he's on the show, because what was fascinating about Ken when I spoke to him was I got a text from a mutual friend saying, friend of mine got attacked by an identity thief. It's bad. He needs help. And when I got Ken on the phone, I was like, I don't really think you need help. So Ken, what was the first thing you did? How did you stop the bleeding?
All right. So going back to the beginning where this happened, first thing I did was, make sure all the passwords had been changed, especially for the bank that was targeted. After I changed that, I make sure, to have different passwords for each. So you don't, like I said before, I don't want my password to be so easily figured out, such as, if there are different phrases that I remember, maybe somebody else can know too.
Do you use a password manager?
I got a password manager for my whole family, and now I use the random password managers that generate different passwords to be a little bit more secure.
So password manager is a perfect answer, and it's step one. Did you call the police?
Yeah, so you got to file a police report. So if you don't file a police report, you cannot get a lot of these things, such as the DMV and recovering your accounts and also your bank accounts. Make sure that you could dispute it and saying that it's actually fraud. So with the police report, what I did was I went to all the banks and the mobile accounts that was open and disputed with them, and they closed it out and saying that was fraud. And besides the police report, you can also file an FTC report, which is the Federal Trade Commission, for identity theft. Once you file a report with them, they'll give you step-by-step instructions on what to do next. The next thing I did was securing my credit reports. That's very important as well, because this person, whoever has my identity, will continue to open new accounts if I don't freeze my credit report. So you actually have to create an account with 3 bureaus, which is Experian, Equifax, TransUnion, and just put a fraud alert and freeze your credit from there.
Did you freeze your credit first?
Yeah, I froze my credit first.
So first you changed your major passwords, right?
Yeah, so I did it all in pretty much the same day. I called for fraud alerts, and then I froze my account. And then I also have my password changed within those 1 or 2 days. So I did it as soon as I could.
Did you happen to sign up for a service that monitors the dark web?
Yeah, I did sign up for one.
So, and this service would include access to fraud experts who will actually guide you through the process and maybe handle most of the process for you, so you don't have to spend 30 hours of your life agonizing over this.
Yeah. And, I found out that just by going through this service, you could actually put in your name on a specific site, and they'll pull up your history, such as where you used to live, your relatives, all of that. You could actually find this online. And with this service, I found out that you get opt out of that so that, you can't be searching. That's exactly what I did after I found out about it.
Well, I'm going to have to do a shameless plug here, guys. I think you know who I'm going to do it for.
Yep.
DeleteMe.
Yep.
Full disclosure, DeleteMe is a sponsor of this podcast.
Yeah, it's a service that when you sign up for it, it'll they will opt out on your behalf from all these paid listing sites. So they can just say, take my address off, take my address off, take my address off, and just completely expunge it. One of the difficulties is when you unsubscribe or opt out, there's really no guarantee that you're not going to pop up again on these sites within a month or two. And so the nice thing with services like DeleteMe is that they will just keep on checking again just to see if you popped up again and then remove you again.
That's pretty cool. Did you come across it when you were doing your research?
Yeah, I did. It's pretty helpful because once I opt out of it, I just couldn't even find myself in certain sites.
Oh, and that is the way that an identity thief works. They cobble together who you are by what is out there about you, and then they can make a good enough imitation of you to get money, services, healthcare, all kinds of things.
What did you do about the driver's license situation? This person is presumably still walking around with a driver's license that has your information and your photo.
Yeah, so DMV has actually a fraud department for in cases like this, and they're located all the way out in Albany. So you actually have to fill out a form and put in the evidence, there's your police report, and mail it to them. Now, the thing with them is you don't know when they're going to call you back. You don't know what the time frame is, so you're pretty much out in the dark. But did get a call back within end of the month. I believe it was just recently, like last week. So a person did call and told me that, there's nothing they can do to change that number and drive. So pretty much stuck with the number that you have. Unless the person actually walk into the DMV and get a picture taken and change the address and stuff. Certain situations like that, and they'll say, okay, so this person impersonated you and went in DMV, and that's a crime. So in that way, they could change the ID number. But other than that, in my case, this person hasn't done anything, so they can't change anything.
No, they've done a lot with.
They stole $8,000.
They stole $8,000 from you. They opened credit accounts in your net. They changed all kinds of information that they needed your driver's license in order to authenticate themselves. So, I mean, this is something where it's worth a call to the Attorney General's office in New York or the New York Department of Consumer Affairs and say, you guys have to help me here because something is going on.
Have you ever been to DMV, Adam?
I have been to New York DMV.
So you totally understand why DMV is not doing anything about this.
I must say that I'm surprised that they're acting this way.
Well, I'm also surprised that they don't have better systems in place. What I'm really thinking is the best way to get some sort of resolution on this, since your number is hanging out there and this person could use it in a traffic stop at least, and then you'd have to prove that it wasn't you. I think that this actually might be a good time to write an op-ed for the Daily News or somewhere like that. I might just help you do that, Ken.
And one other thing, you also might want to contact your assembly person for your district.
Yeah.
Or the council member of your district and speak to their constituent services folks and see what they can do for you. Because sometimes it's quite surprising what some of these folks can do when they put their mind to it.
Nobody can stick in the craw of an agency in New York State better than a New York City assemblyman. So I think that might be a really good move for you, because until that driver's license number is changed, I feel like you still have a little loose end here.
Ken, you've been through a lot. I mean, it's horrible. It just shows how any of us can be targeted, can be a victim, even when we're doing the right thing.
Yeah, and Ken, we really appreciate you sharing your story with us. It's been eye-opening, and I think a lot of people listening will be able to learn something from your experience.
Thanks, Ken. We really appreciate your time and the fact that you walked us through everything you've done to get stuff under control. It's been great having you on the show.
See ya.
Hey, guys.
Bye. Thank you.
Eva Velasquez and the Identity Theft Resource Center, one of my favorite nonprofits, they're dedicated to helping victims of identity theft navigate the complexities of recovering from all kinds of fraud. They provide valuable resources, education, and free assistance to those impacted by identity crimes. And if you've been a victim or want to learn how to protect yourself, You can find more information and access their services at idtheftcenter.org.
Okay, so now it's time for the tinfoil swan.
Our paranoid takeaway to keep you safe on and offline.
Do you use a password manager?
That's a pretty personal question.
In part, kinda.
Wait, you think it's a personal question or you use one in part?
Yes.
Okay, please expand.
It depends on the account and what it's connected to. I use multiple web browsers, and one problem with built-in password managers is what you've stored on, say, Firefox doesn't automatically sync with Chrome or Safari or Edge, for that matter.
Yeah, and they're less secure overall. The fact that you can import your stored passwords from one browser to another means that a hacker can do the same.
Right, but not all third-party password managers are created equal. I mean, some have better encryption, some have been hacked fewer times.
Yeah, and once you set them up, you can use them across multiple browsers and multiple devices.
Yeah, and to Beau's point, there's still a risk factor here. If your password manager is breached.
Listen, I was wondering when someone was going to interrupt me.
Yeah.
So that actually happened to my very major provider recently. And it, whatever. I didn't lose any sleep over it, but I did have to change some things.
Well, it could mean that all your passwords are breached.
Yeah, and if you use a weak password to protect your passwords, you're totally screwed.
Yeah, and it's the same thing we say about two-factor authentication. Any cybersecurity product or solution isn't 100% safe. They can keep you safer, but not completely safe.
Well, I misspoke actually, because the major password manager that I use and that was breached, it does require that I use an authenticator to get on there. So I have multi-factor authentication protecting it. I think it's pretty safe. The whole goal here is to make yourself a harder target.
While some password managers may be better than others, and some browsers have stronger security than others, you're still going to be safer than you would be if you're just using your pet's name for all your accounts.
And that's our tinfoil swan.
If Ken's story has you thinking twice about the security of your driver's license, you want to check out our episode with criminology professor David Myman. He breaks down how driver's licenses have become the new object of affection for scammers and how COVID made things worse. Learn how criminals traffic in both real and fake licenses and why protecting yourself can be more frustrating than you think. The episode is titled David Myman on the Spike in Driver's License Fraud, and you could hear it wherever you get your podcasts. And while you're there, make sure you're subscribed to What the Hack, because next week we have a great episode with Jen Easterly. She's the director of the Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency, also known as CISA. It's an informative episode with a truly fascinating guest, and you don't want to miss it.
What the Hack with Adam Levin is a production of Loud Tree Media. You can find us online at adamlevin.com and on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at Adam K. Levin.
Behind every great meal is a person with a story to tell. Hear them on Culinary Characters Unlocked, the podcast that reveals the lives behind the food. Hosted by me, David Page, Emmy Award-winning journalist and creator of Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives, as I talk with everyone from culinary legends to mom-and-pop standouts about the creativity, grit, and passion that shape the food we love. Follow Culinary Characters Unlocked on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Behind every empire are the people history tried to forget. Lost Roman Heroes tells the stories of the remarkable characters who shaped Rome from its mythical beginnings to its final fall.
Each episode blends armchair storytelling, sharp historical insight, and a bit of humor to bring these lost figures to life. From generals to scientists, from rebels to empresses, from priests to politicians, these lost Roman heroes have one thing in common.
They stood up for civilization when the bad guys threatened, and in doing so, they changed the course of human history. If you're into history that's vivid, surprising, and deeply human, this show's for you.